Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, Treasure Map vs Ace to Super Evolve LinLin is coming within about 24 hours of the video actually being live. And in today's video, we're breaking down the content, doing some no new batch and no new unit videos to help you guys take down this particular event. So just a little preface to start with this video. I will be using Sabo as a friend captain for these particular teams. However, we can talk about some replacements and stuff like that, especially for the final boss fight, which doesn't seem overly challenging. However, the intrusion fight, man, this is, I know we say this like pretty much every single time Treasure Map's out, and honestly, Treasure Map's been on a pretty good run lately of me not like bagging this shit out of the way they design the content. But this has got to be like one of, if not the worst and most poorly designed intrusions that I've ever seen. And the big reason for that is the tag system. I've been going on about the tag system for a long time, and look, I again want to preface that I don't dislike the tag system. I think it's a fantastic addition to the game. I just think they've been really lazy with it. They're just not updating it, and I will explain to you what I mean by that when we sort of dive into the intrusion fight and showcase some characters that should have tags that would help you, but they don't actually have them. So Treasure Map versus Ace and Super Evolve LinLin, blah, 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 blah. All the fun stuff here. They have made it a little bit easier to attain points. And I know a lot of people summoned on the Enel Boa, the Logia Fruit Boa, anniversary exclusive character. She's actually a 1.85 booster. So today I'll be talking about sort of some options with her if you guys have her as a unit as well. Because like she was guaranteed on the 15th multi. It was a pretty easy banner to summon on with the whole new medal system. But other than that, like, the three big ones are the Revolutionary Army characters being Sabo, Koala, and Hack. If you have these characters, it's going to help you out a lot because Sabo needs Revolutionary Army characters to work. And if we're using him as a friend captain, you want to have 4 Revolutionary Army characters. However, we have 1, 2, 3. And then if we go all the way down the bottom here to some of the other boosted characters, this Sabo here is boosted, but he's not a Revolutionary Army character because they haven't added the tags, so that's always fun. And then we have Morley Karasu, which is cool, another possible Revolutionary Army unit. And then we have Treasure Map Koala, but if you have the Rare Recruit Koala, you're not using Treasure Map Koala, are you? So realistically, you have Morley Karasu and then the new characters. If you pull the new Rare Recruits, you can then obviously use Morley Karasu and then just bring a friend Sabo and you should be okay. But like, bruh, it's slim pickings out here when it comes to what units you actually have access to. So let's dive in. That's enough rambling about the start of the content. Let's take a look at the mini-bosses and let's showcase the teams I'm using. The mini-boss teams, look, you can run them however you like. Put point boosters on the team, don't put point boosters on the team. I don't really care. Like, I'm just going to showcase how I like to do it. When it comes to Treasure Map, you ideally want to speed your way through the map as quickly as possible, get to that final boss fight, beat the final boss fight with the highest amount of point boosters that you can possibly bring. Honestly, nowadays, I don't really worry about the intrusion fight unless it's the super bonus map or the bonus map. I just feel like the 1.5 times multiplier just isn't worth the hoops I have to jump through. And it's just a lot faster to build up my multiplier to get to that particular point where we're at the super boss map. And then we can just get the 2 times multiplier that way. But again, I digress. So starting off, we have the Teach fight. The free-play Luffy and Sanji are the recommended characters. Teach is int, so you can basically run those Straw Hats, the free units, and then you can basically win. Everyone gets the good stuff. He's weak to fighters. He has normal attacks only, full immunity, 1 ton of damage null, a 2-slot rainbow barrier, and gives you a full board of unfavorable slots. So as you can see, having the Sanji, he's going to take care of pretty much all of that. However, we're going to use Carrot. Carrot's fantastic unit. She just bypasses all the defensive effects, including the barriers and stuff like that. We have Brook to double wave clear. We're using the Sengoku special to give a 3.5 times attack and all boost to a selected character, which in this case will be Kobe. As he's a 1.25 booster. You can just put anyone, honestly, like any character that's getting fully buffed under Carrot and is a high booster. So that way you can just get more damage output. It's going to work great. We also have Shiroshi for the rainbow orbs at the start of the quests. That way we have them on the final stage. Not that we need it for the barrier, but like it's kind of nice that we actually have them for the barrier anyway. Moving on to the Alvida and Kobe fight. The rare recruit Ivankov and Kuma and Ginny, the kid rare recruits from the new batch of Garp and Garling, are recommended. Free Spirits, Strikers, and something else. I get all the good stuff. I totally missed what that was. Fighters. On the battle 3, Kobe and Alvida are weak to free spirit characters. They give you despair. Normal attacks only burn. Full immunity except delay and defense down. And then 2 turns of a G orb barrier. So again, another lot of barriers. So for this team, we're using double Ace. Ace has barrier pen. And the idea here is that we actually get half of our cooldowns with double Ace captains. So we are going to be utilizing the Toki ability on our captains to just bypass that despair ability. With the Frankie Rare Recruit, we get Wino Orbs on our top row. We have the swap ability and the special of the treasure map legend Lucci and Kaku. That's going to just wave clear stage 1 and turn 2. And then on the final stage, like I said, we have the 3.5 times attack and orb boost on our captains. Sabo is a chain boundary unit. He can also remove the burn if we need it. But I just literally put him on this team because I wanted to highlight him and how stupid he was. And the fact that he doesn't have any of his freaking tags, man. Like, it's just so stupid. But you could also use like a baby, like if you have an unevolved Izokiku, like that's another really good option for this particular team. Just great wave clearer, getting the 3.5 times chain lock. Because like I said, all your damage is going to come through Ace, and then later down the line, you can use Ace's special to give yourself a conditional buff, and you just be pretty much like hunky-dory from there. Moving on to the Doflamingo fight now. The fight's number 3. The Super Evolution of Mihawk, Perona, and Boa are recommended. However, we want to use them on the final fight because they are the highest point boosters. Strength, Dex, and Psych characters get all the good stuff, and then Dofi's weak to Cerebrals. He gives you block orbs, he has normal attacks only, defense down immunity, and 12 turns of defense up. So you have to basically remove the defense up. You can't just set defense to 0, which kind of sucks. It means that you can't use all of those fun strats like support, rare recruit, Mihawk. But for this team, we are utilizing a combination of things. We have the Rock Sprites as our captains. I just use them because they're boosted, and like, why not? And then we have a baby Zoro. Now, I will level up this Zoro and like awaken him and stuff to his 6-star. We're using the 6+ on another fight, so that's why we're using this Zoro here. But having 2 is really good because Zoro's a really good wave clearer on turn 1. He gets the cooldowns on this fight, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Dex characters. So he's going to get the cooldowns, and then he gives 2 turns of cooldown for the rest of the team. And that's going to allow Luffy to be ready to go. We're using the Toki ability once again, just to go on our captains, being the Rocks Pirates. Luffy can remove the defense up completely and apply increased damage taken. And then we have Izokiku as our other wave clearer for a chain lock. With this, if you use the Rocks Pirates, you'll actually get the set target ability. And then with Luffy, you have increased damage taken. And with that, you're just pretty much good to go. And you can just sort of single tap with the Rocks Pirates. Should kill for a pretty long time, and it should be pretty damn fast team. Moving on to the final mini-boss fight, we have Mr. Zero or Crocodile and Miss All Sunday, otherwise known as Robin. The recommended characters are Olin and Garling, but we're not using Garling. And Olin is a high point booster, so we want to use her on the final fight. On Battle 1, Cerebrals, Driven, and Slashers get all the good stuff. The boss is weak to Driven, gives you special bind, normal attacks only, full immunity, except for, delay and defense down. And then does damage reduction by 6 turns. So the team we're using looks like this. We are running double Zoro, so that way we just don't have to worry about the special bind at all. He's going to be our wave clearer as well, because we have Yamato on the team. I think Yamato triggers his super type. At the end of the day, actually, it doesn't really matter, because... Does she? No, Yamato doesn't. So, actually doesn't matter, because like, we can just use one Zoro special, use the other Zoro special, and that's going to allow us to just kill. On the final stage, we can just use the Yamato special ability. That's going to remove the damage reduction, apply increased damage taken, and give us color affinity. And then with Sengoku, we can apply that to the Roger Rayleigh Gaban unit to get the 4 times attack and orbs, as we have a full like monocolor team, like one of each colors. So that way we're just basically single tapping with our Roger Rayleigh Gaban and just hitting ridiculously hard. That's basically the goal for this particular team, and should work pretty nicely for majority of the treasure map. Alright, so moving on to the tricky stuff, or the not so tricky stuff. The final boss fight, honestly, against Ace is just really not that bad. However, the intrusion is something else. So, Dex, Quick, and In characters get all the good stuff. The recommended characters are basically all of the new characters. They want you to use Garp, they want you to use the Boa, they want you to use the Hack. Koala's not there, but I'm sure she's recommended somewhere too. Battle 2, you have Marco. He has normal attacks only, defense down immunity. He gives you Fear, Special Bind, Attack down, and Hunger for 1 stack. So that's where Garp is like required. On Battle 3, Ace has full immunity, normal attacks only, and is weak to fighters. He gives you 6 turns of bind after sockets, full body unfavorable orbs, which is very annoying. 6 turns of attack down, 3 turns of defense up, damage reduction, and threshold. So pretty spicy stuff there. But the team looks like this. On turn 2, you just have to deal with attack down and special bind. So we're going to use Mihawk Perona. The switch ability of Mihawk Perona is going to apply a negative effect, and then you can use their special. They're going to rotate orbs, and they also give you a conditional buff to the negative effect, plus they remove the special bind, which is really, really nice. And then you can use the friend captain Sabo to remove the attack down. Sabo's special can remove attack down, works really, really nicely, and then from there, you're pretty much good to go. And you don't have to really remove anything else. You don't have to worry about the fear because you have the swap ability. And hunger is a potential ability, so it doesn't get affected by the fear ability. So having Carrot and Wanda works out great here. Basically, Carrot Wanda are replaceable with any character that just has some sort of hunger ability there, which is really, really nice. You're going to have to sort of look out for some orbs here, though. So if you want to, you can start as Karina. So that way you get the super swap into Nami here, and then you can swap into Karina again on the final stage. That's probably what I'm going to do. I would recommend that. So that way... what am I doing here? Well, what's going on? Why is this happening? Oh, that's why. Yeah, start as Karina, so that way you get the super swap charge. Swap with Nami Karina on turn 2. That way you get the 3-turn base stats, and then you can give some matching orbs. If you really need to, you can swap with Carrot Wanda as well. Like, just get the attack boost there, and then get some matching orbs there as well. But look, at the end of the day, I feel like you're not going to need... Carrot Wanda's swap ability until the final stage, just so you get the attack boost. Talking about the final stage, though, you do get a bunch of binds. Now, there are a bunch of supports that you can use to remove this bind. We have the Baccarat free-to-play treasure map unit on Nami and Karina. That's going to take care of 2 turns of it. You have the Olin support on... Otama support on Olin, and then there's a Buggy support you can put on Mihawk and Perona. But you can also bring a different hunger removal, like Luffy's just... Like, the treasure map Luffy, for example, is a great option. He can use Halloween Ace. He can use, what's her name? Rayleigh. That'll also work. Or you can use a ship that has 2 turns of bind removal as well. All of these things are definitely going to help you guys out as well. The Boa unit as well, this one here, she can actually remove 2 turns of bind. She's a 1.4 times booster as well. She sets enemies defense to 0, so like you can bypass the defensive effects in that regard too. But the main reason we want to use her here is so that way you just get the bind removal and you don't have to rely on a shitload of supports. But look, the team has access to a whole bunch of supports anyway. Next, you've got Olin. She can remove the damage reduction, and she also gives Dex characters color affinity. And then finally, you have the Nami Karina special. Switch back into Karina, obviously, and then that way you get defense up removal, threshold removal, and attack down removal. You also get an orb buff too, which is great. Carrot Wanda are going to override the orb buff though, so like that's not going to matter too much, but it is pretty nice there. Then all your damage is going to come through Sabo as your friend captain. If you guys can't find Sabo friend captains, just bring another Nami Karina. Like, it's pretty simple. Like, Sabo is just removing attack down, and you can just bring another Nami Karina to do that. So if you're really stuck here, double Nami Karina will work absolutely fine. And if you pulled Boa, as I mentioned, like you can just sort of substitute the free-to-play Boa with the new Boa. And then, like, as you can see, you have a plethora of different support options for bind removal. You still have the Otama, you still have the Baccarat, you have the Buggy support that you could use. Again, you have the treasure map Luffy, who has hunger removal, who has Ace, he has Rayleigh, he has a whole bunch of different characters that he can use. But like I said, you guys can just basically use any character that has some sort of hunger removal. It only needs to be 1 stack of hunger, so like if you want to use Crocodile, like use Crocodile. Like Crocodile's a great option. If you want to use, say, Ryogoku, you could definitely use him as well. Basically, you just want to have someone that can remove some sort of bind. Hell, use the free-to-play Luffy if you guys are really, really stuck. But yeah, you guys, as you guys can see there, you do have some options that can work fairly nicely. Now onto the intrusion. This is where she gets real dicey. As you can see, I'm using Shanks as captain. He is not boosted. We're still getting a 3.3 times multiplier, and the big reason I'm using Shanks as a friend, as my captain, is so that way we can sort of maximize all of our gains with the 1.4 times boosters in Olin and Boa, and then still bring Mihawk Perona. I tried doing some funky stuff with like 1.2 times boosters, but I found that the juice just wasn't worth the squeeze, and it was just a lot easier to just run something like this. Shanks crew, obviously being a rainbow captain, works really, really nice. I do have my Shanks crew at what's it called? Limit Break Expansion, and he goes down to 13 turns. His captain ability gives you 1 turn of special charge at the start of the quest, so technically this is 12, and then you get 2 from your ship. If you have a leveled up ship, you have 2 from your abilities, like your what's it called? Your tome abilities. So that's another 4. If you bring another Shanks crew captain, or you bring Sabo, that's another 1 to 2 cooldowns. And then Shanks is actually boosted under the interrupt as well. Plus you get the interrupt on turn 1, interrupt on turn 2, interrupt on turn 3, kill turn 2, that's 4 turns. Again, kill turn 1. That's 5 extra turns of cooldown. So Shanks' crew will be definitely ready to go, even though he is not a boosted character. But as you can see, Sabo, Koala, and Hack are the recommended characters. And the reason this is so cringe is because fight cerebral powers, get the good stuff, and they want you to bring Revolutionary Army characters. And as I highlighted at the start of the video, there just aren't any besides the 3 you see on screen and Morley Karasu. Like, they are the 4 characters you can bring that are Revolutionary Army tag. Cool, you can bring Treasure Maps Koala, sure you can, but you have the Rare Recruit Koala, and she's pretty much essential for what the team is trying to achieve. So it's just so dumb. And the reason it's so dumb is because on Battle 2, you get an attack down if you blow a 2.5 times chain at 90% reduction. You get block orbs, you lock orbs, normal attacks only. There's an intimidation if you use any chain effect, including set, chain multiplier, chain lock, chain addition, chain multiplicative buff. You get it reduced by 2 turns. So if you use 3 turns, it goes down to 1 turn, and this makes it very hard to carry shit over. Delay immunity, 6 turns of defense up, Dex Orb Barrier, and then there is a 30% reduction of damage for 2 turns when attacking with basically any orb. Strength, Dex, Quick, Psi, Int, Wano, Rainbow, and Recovery. So if you want to bring tandem orbs, this will work, but remember there is a Dex Orb Barrier that you have to deal with as well. So it's very, very frustrating. On the final stage against LinLin, she's weak to fighter characters. She gives you an attack down at 90% if you're below a 3 times chain. So again, like, you need a chain lock for turn 2 to bypass the attack down here. And then you also need a chain lock for the final stage to bypass the 3 times attack down. Now, this is a 12 turn chain multiplier reduction. 12 turns is a shitload. There's not a lot of characters that can bypass that. Like, if you're bringing double Shiroshi Manchuri, sure, you can get around it. If you're bringing maybe double Yamato, you can get around it. But, like, again, they're non-boosted characters, so, like, just try and find a way that'll just maximize your gains, like something like Shanks' crew. Normal attacks only, you get a chain growth reduction at 0.1 for 6 turns. You get a chain lock at 1.1 minimum, maxing at 1.1 as well. And this is also for a whopping 12 turns. So removing this chain lock is going to be very, very challenging. An easy way to do this is to bring a chain lock from stage 2 into stage 3, and that way it just blocks it because you already have the buff live or debuff live. This is the game sort of registered. This is the easiest way to do it. So if you can bring a 4-turn chain lock, which is what we're doing, you'll block this, and then you can just reapply your own after that. There is an intimidation for 2 turns if you use an attack or an orb boost, delay immunity, resilience, and territory as well. So there's a lot of shit going on in this fight, man. A lot of shit. So the team we're using, it looks like this. We are using Shanks' crew. Shanks' crew is really good because multitude of reasons, right? His special gives you a 3-turn chain lock at 3.75. And as a captain, he can actually extend it by 1 turn. So then that way you're getting a 4-turn chain lock, which is really, really good. And then he also rotates block orbs into matching. He locks those orbs. If your captain is quick, you get a base attack boost for 3 turns. So you can take a base attack boost, you can take the chain lock into the final stage. And basically Shanks' crew alone is just dealing with everything that stage 2 is throwing at you. Like, there's nothing here that you have to really worry about besides the defense up and the Dex Orb barrier that Shanks' crew isn't taking care of. However, you have the free-to-play Boa who can take care of the defense up. She sets defense to 0. I believe, if I remember correctly, I just want to double check, there is no defense down immunity. So you can set defense to 0, and then that way you don't have to worry about the defense up. I believe it's a delay. I just skipped over it. I believe it's a delay immunity. Yeah, so you can't delay, but you can set defense to 0. Set defense to 0, use Shanks' crew, and then you move it to the final stage with the base attack boost. You bypass the chain lock, and then you're pretty much good to go from there. You have 2 Dex Orbs, because remember we're using a Sabo as our friend captain, and that way you can get because Sabo's friend captain, you have 2 Dex Orbs on your Crocodile and your Sabo. You can tap with them first, break the barrier, and then you can basically use your other characters to sort of just win here. You can swap with Mihawk Pronin too if you want to play the negative effect as well, just to get a little bit more damage output. But I feel like with the super swap of Shanks, getting the attack boost, doing all that fun stuff, you should be able to kill here pretty hunky-dory, even with the attack down with certain type orbs as well. On to the final stage, you're going to carry that chain lock in, so you're going to bypass that. To deal with the resilience, Shanks now has end of turn damage because he is the captain and he's in his dual form. Depending on how many perfects you hit, he can just sort of do end of turn damage just to bypass that, which is really, really nice. However, there is a Katakuri and oven support that you can use on LinLin, and that way you can bypass it that way too. So you can do something like this. So you have different options there. But LinLin, she can also give you color affinity for Dex characters. Crocodile's going to give you a chain boundary once again, because remember, you need to be above a 3 times chain lock. And I should have the Mr. 1 support here actually too. So you do want to have some sort of chain boost as well, just so that way you can go above the 3 times chain. Because I believe Crocodile starts at a 2.75. Yeah, he starts at 2.75 unless you have the 1 counter. So you're not going to have the 1 counter. So you do want to have some way to sort of boost that already. And then you get above 3 times. Now, you can't use an attack boost. You can't use an orb boost. It kind of sucks. But for this team, we're using Mihawk Prona and their switchability and their negative effect. That's going to be a massive conditional booster. You have base attack. You have type advantage. Type effects. So Crocodile and Sabo should be hitting fairly hard. I imagine so. Sabo can also remove the the attack down, the chain reduction rate. So that's something fun that you can use too, and a few more tap timing bonuses there with the tap growth. But as for the rest of the team, like, they're not doing much damage besides your Dex characters, like, and that's sort of what you're buying into here. So that's the team. It's a super annoying intrusion fight. We'll do playthroughs for this, obviously. And if you manage to pull the new boa as well, you can obviously substitute the free-to-play boa with the new boa. She removes defense up. You can just use a little bit of support help to sort of bypass the rest of it. As you can see, I have Carrot and Nami on this particular team, so that way we can use the Brook support with the Perispera support, and then use the boa special. That way you're bypassing all of the defense up that way, and that should work out pretty hunky-dory. We have Carrot and Nami could be just like a better option than something like Crocodile too, because they should be giving a pretty high chain boundary as well. So there's like much of a muchness really, and then you could just, like, I don't know, slap on, say, the Zoro support on Shanks' crew, so that way you're getting a chain boost there. But basically it works the exact same way. You just need to have a little bit support there. As you can see, we have a 4.37 boost with the new boa. And over here, without the new boa, we have a 3.3 boost. Obviously, that will be increased with the new Sabo Friend Captain. For this team as well, if you guys can't find a new Sabo Friend Captain, I imagine you can just use any other high point boosted Dex character. I can't really think of anything that Sabo is doing that really affects this particular fight. He removes the chain code, like the chain reduction by 6 turns, and then he gives you the growth rate, which is kind of nice. He can apply weakness effect, but like that's kind of whatever. So like if you have, like, say, Morley Caruso as a friend captain, like that definitely could work. You could bring a Crocodile friend captain. You could use something like Ryogoku. You could use something like Carrot and Nami. Like I said, the main thing is you just want them to be Dex, so that way you can break the barrier. Now, as you guys can see here, I did manage to pull Koala and Hack. I will have a video out with them a little bit later down the line. But for now, this is what we're cooking with. But you do have some options there as well. So hopefully this video helps you guys out in some way or some fashion. I will have playthrough videos as well, so don't stress if you guys are a little bit confused on what's going on. I will have a playthrough out when the treasure map does go live tomorrow night. So stay tuned for that video, and also stay tuned for the My Team video. But look, the mini bosses will pretty much stay the same. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all the good stuff. Most importantly, if you guys are in this beautiful world, please enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Let's fuck this treasure map, yo. Absolute scenes.